Onua, mekyea na memwakaba soba LEARNAKAN So we've already looked at the simple present tense in Twi. If you haven't taken that lesson, it's important that you go back and take it. I'll leave a link up here. And today we are adding the progressive or the continuous aspect to that. And don't worry, don't get confused, I'll explain. First, the progressive or the continuous aspect is known as Ɛnsiiɛ, kabea in Twi. Ɛnsiiɛ, kabea in Twi. All right. Now the verb in here is si, which means to end. Right. So when an action comes to an end, we say si. So for example, say you are listening to a song and the song comes to an end, you would say ejomno esi. All right, ejomno esi. If you are watching a movie and the movie comes to an end, you say sineno esi. But here the verb si is negative, as indicated by the negative marker before the si. So when you say ɛnsiiɛ, it means it hasn't ended. All right, ɛnsiiɛ. So say I'm watching a movie and you're saying, oh, you are asking if the movie has ended, and I want to tell you, oh, no, it hasn't ended. I'll say ɛnsiiɛ. Or I can say, oh, sineno nsiiɛ, the movie has not ended. Following from this breakdown, we use the progressive or the continuous aspect to talk about actions that are ongoing, all right? Actions that are yet to end. So you see, we said ɛnsiiɛ, it hasn't ended. And in English, you achieve that by attaching ing to the end of the verb. So for example, in English, if I say I am eating, right? I am eating, it means the action of the eating hasn't ended. I'm still eating, right? It's ongoing. If I say Kofi is dancing, it means Kofi has not ended the dance. He is still in the process of dancing. Now that you know what the progressive or the continuous aspect is, what I was saying earlier was you are going to add that to the simple present tense. So we get the present progressive or the present continuous tense. And this is the tense that we are going to use to convey actions that are presently ongoing. Okay, so currently ongoing. And it's quite easy to form the present progressive tense in Twi. All you need to do is to attach the progressive aspect marker re, so re, in front of the verb in question. So in English, you achieve that by attaching ing to the end of the verb. In Twi, you achieve same by attaching re, so re, in front of the verb. And again, make sure you attach it so it's not separate. You attach it to the verb. Let's see some examples. So again, just as we've been doing with all, our 10 series, I'll first give you the same example in the simple present tense, and I'll go on to give you the same example in the present progressive tense so that you'll be able to compare and see what is going on. So for the first example, in the simple present tense, we have Kofi kyerɛ adeɛ. Kofi kyerɛ adeɛ. Kofi kyerɛ adeɛ. So the verb here is kyerɛ adeɛ. It's actually kyerɛ, to teach. But if you are not telling what it is that the person teaches, then you need to attach the dummy word adeɛ, which is like a thing, something. So Kofi teaches something. But, when we translate this, we translate as Kofi teaches. So we have Kofi kyerɛ adeɛ, Kofi teaches. Now, if we add the progressive to this, we get Kofi rekyerɛ adeɛ. Kofi rekyerɛ adeɛ. We'll come back to this and touch on pronunciation. But for now, we have this. We have Kofi rekyerɛ adeɛ. Kofi is teaching. For our next example, we have akosua tɔn nkosua. Akosua tɔn nkosua. So the verb here is tɔn, which means to sell. So this is in a simple present tense. If we add the progressive, we get akosua retɔn nkosua. Akosua retɔn nkosua. Again, we'll come back to pronunciation, but this is the standard. Let's go to the next example. We have menante in the simple present tense. Menante, I walk, right? So the verb here is nante, to walk. Now, in the progressive, we'll have this as merenante. Merenante. To the next example, we have yetojom in the simple present tense. Yetojom. Yetojom. So the verb here is tojom, which means to sing. Now, in the progressive, we simply attach re in front of this verb tojom, and then we have yeretojom. Yeretojom. Next, we have Lionel Tukwain. Lionel Tukwain. So Tukwain is the verb here, and it means to travel. All right. So Lionel travels in the simple present tense. Now, if we add the progressive to this, we get Lionel Ritukwain. Lionel Ritukwain. Okay. Lionel is traveling. Next, we have Yeko Suku. Yeko Suku. So the verb here is ko, which means to go, right? Yeko Suku, we go to school. If we add the progressive, we get Yereko Suku. Yereko Suku. Next, we have Ajua to America. Ajua to America. Ajua to America. So to America is the verb here, and it means to run. Okay, so Ajua runs. Ajua to America. If we add the progressive, we get Ajua Ritu America. Ajua Ritu America. Let's go back and touch on pronunciation. So you see, I've been saying merenante, kofi rechradie, akosua reton gosia, yereto jom, and on and on. But if you find yourself in Ghana, you realize that most people do not pronounce these with the re in front. I mean, in terms of speech. When we write it, we include the re. But in speech, you find that most people do not, pronounce the re. Not to say that if you pronounce the re, you are wrong. No, some people even, say the re, especially when they are reading. But what I'm saying is, what is most common in terms of speech, not in writing, is that people tend not to pronounce the re. What ends up happening is, in regular speech, most people will reduce the re. They will delete the re, and then they will stretch the vowel that comes before this re. Let's go back to the examples. So in merenante, right? Merenante, what you end up hearing the most is menante. Menante. Okay? Menante. In kofi rechre adie, what you mostly hear is kofi chradie. Kofi chradie. Okay? Kofi chradie. In akosia reton ngosia, you end up hearing akosia ton ngosia. Akosia ton ngosia. In yeretojom, you mostly hear this in speech as yetojom. Yetojom. In yereko suku, you mostly hear this as yeko suku. Yeko suku. And in Ajua Ritu America, you'd hear this as Ajue to America. Ajue to America. Another thing to note, and we touched on this when we looked at the simple future tense in our last lesson in the tense series, is that if the subject is a pronoun, okay, if you have the subject being a pronoun, make sure you combine that with the verb along with the tense marker, the re in the middle. Combine all those into one unit when you're writing. Okay, so if you go back to our examples, the ones that had the subject being pronouns, we had them written together. So we had me nante written together. We had ye tojom written together. We had ye kosuku written together. All right. So you make sure that if you are writing, if you find that the subject is a pronoun, then you combine that with the verb along with the tense marker. All right. But if the subject is a noun, a name, then you need to split it. So in our examples, again, we had kofi, rechre, adie, right? We had the kofi separate and the rechre, adie separate, right? In akosia, reton, ngosia, we had akosia separate and then the reton, ngosia separate. In Adwoa Ritu Emrika, we had Adwoa separate because it's a name, and then we had Ritu Emrika separate. We end today's lesson here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You can visit LEARNAKAN.com for more. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so before you leave. Thank you guys, and I hope to catch you in the next one.